Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Riska Handayani and I am one of the students of Makassar State University. And today I will explain to you about the country of Ukraine. Have you ever heard or talked about this country before? Or maybe you've met people from there before? Never? Don't worry, I'll explain it to you. Today, I will explain about country background, type of government, language, know before you go, cultural orientation, protocol, tourist destination, and the last is do's and don'ts or taboos in Ukraine. So, well, let's go to the first part.
Country background.
Slavic peoples populated Ukraine at least 2000 years before Christ. Kiev, the capital, dates to about 8th century and Domini some 400 years before Moscow. One of the oldest and most important of Slavic cities, Kiev is often considered the mother city of Ukraine, of the Russian Empire and of the Slavic Orthodox Church. Christianity came to Ukraine and from there spread to Russia when Prince Vladimir of Kiev was converted to Orthodox by Byzantine missionaries from Constantinople in Anno Domini 9088. Ukraine's flat, fertile expanses historically made it difficult to defend. The Mongols sacked Kiev in 12 and 40, and from this point on, Moscow became the dominant Slav city. Orthodox Russians see a progression of holy cities of Orthodoxy from Constantinople to Kiev to Moscow. Ukraine has been a prize coveted by many warring peoples. The Lithuanians conquered Ukraine around 1392. When Lithuania and Poland merged in 1569, Polish influence became dominant. Under Polish rule, Ukrainian farmers were forced into serfdom. Those who resisted began to band together and became known as Cossacks. They lived a harsh existence in frontier areas and gave only nominal allegiance to the Polish king. In the 1600s, Polish Jesuits began to impose Catholicism in the Ukrainians by force. This rallied the Orthodox Cossacks, and in 1648, the Cossacks drove the Polish out of part of Ukraine. Fearing that their independent state was too weak to stand alone, the Cossacks requested that Moscow rule them in 1654. Moscow tightened its grip on the Ukrainians decade after decade, reducing the Cossack power and completing the process of usurpation. Ukraine suffered again in the Second World War. Axis armies from Nazi Germany and Romania advanced far into Ukraine, although some Ukrainians saw the Germans as liberating them from the USSR. Nazi atrocities soon turned most Ukrainians against the Axis. Many Ukrainians were slain. Over 2 million Ukrainian Jews were killed, some shot in their home, some gassed in concentration camp. From the start of the First World War to the end of the Second World War, over 5 million Ukrainians lost their lives, 1 in every 6 Ukrainians. This is a greater proportion than any other nation involved in the World War. President Yushchenko had been poisoned with dioxin prior to the election and accused the former governmental authorities of act. The current government is seeking membership in the European Union and NATO. Ukraine is a country that adheres to a semi-presidential republican system of government, namely a system of government in which the head of state is the president, who is directly elected by the people for a term of 5 years, while the head of government is the prime minister, who is elected from the parliament, who is elected every 5 years as well. 150-seat Ukrainian parliament is known as the Verkhovna Rada. Although the head of government is headed by the prime minister, the president of Ukraine retains the authority to nominate candidates for foreign and defense minister, but with the approval of parliament. The president also has the power to appoint the attorney general and the head of the internal intelligence service.
Language.
We know that Russian and Ukrainian sound very similar to foreign like us. However, if we learn more, we will know that these two languages have differences. But in that, the Ukrainian language gets little influence from the Russian language. It is because long ago Ukraine and Russian were unity called the Soviet Union. Was language of unity is Russian, but now the Soviet Union has split into several states. If you want to find more about the differences between Russian and Ukrainian, you can watch the video through the link I put out below the description. The official language of Ukraine is Ukrainian. There are also about 10 million speakers in other parts of the world, including Russia, the United States, and Canada. In Ukraine, Ukrainian is spoken mostly in the western and central parts, with Russian more widely spoken in the south and east. Its capital, Kiev, used to be mostly Russian, but now Ukrainian is also commonly spoken, and officially signed an announcement will use Ukrainian. Until recently, Ukrainians were taught Russian in school, so people may switch from Ukrainian to Russian in the same sentence. Many technical terms in Ukrainian have been borrowed from Russian. Ukrainian is similar but not identical to Russian. Modern Ukrainian has polylinguistic influences that are absent in Russian. Today, Ukrainian and Russian are about as close as Dutch and German. Although the languages are different, native speakers can manage some communication. However, foreigners who learn Russian usually report that they cannot understand Ukrainian without studying. You should know that Ukrainian is the third most beautiful language in the world, according to a competition held in 1934 in Paris. The most commonly used letter in Ukrainian is P, or in vowel we can say P. An entire sentence can be written with only words beginning with the letter P. So, beside me is an example of the Ukrainian alphabet. If you want to know how to read and read, you can watch video in the description. But I apologize because there was very little information I could share in this part, because it was very difficult to find detailed information about this language. Cultural orientation. One is about cognitive styles. How Ukrainians organize and process information. Ukrainians have traditionally maintained freedom of discussion and have been open to outside information. At the same time, they hold to their beliefs strongly and are quick to confront. Ukrainians have excelled in science, and higher education teaches abstractive and conceptual thought. However, their emotions bind them to the associative and the particular. 2. Negotiation strategies. What Ukrainians accept as evidence, Ukrainians usually rely on the accumulation of objective facts. However, their ability to reason analytically and objectively is often influenced by subjective feelings. 3. Value systems. The basic for behavior, the Ukrainian culture is one of the constructing value systems. Ukrainians are deeply idealistic, but just as deeply attached to the personal and subject. The following 3 sections identify the value systems in the predominant culture, their methods of dividing right from wrong, good from evil, and so forth. 4. Locus of decision. Making to Ukrainians, the individual is the primary unit for decision making. He or she may be so independent that it is difficult to reach our consensus. Ukrainians tend to repudiate all forms of communal life that call for strict obedience. The decisions are not fixed on objective reality, but on idealistic viewpoints containing many elements. Ukrainians tend to confront reality with emotion, make decisions on the spur of the moment, and intermix theoretical and practical issues. Sources of anxiety reduction with the Communist Party no longer in control. Religion is regaining its importance as the focal point for external structure and stability. 5. Ukrainians are deeply religious but not fundamentalist. They look for ways to comprehend the essence of a creed rather than being fixated on dogma. However, since feelings generally take precedence over reason, a person might go from deep love to great hatred or from great enthusiasm to deep despair in a short time. The system may not seem to be in a stable condition. 6. Uses of equality and inequality. Ukrainians possess strong moral courage. They have a desire for harmony and an inclination to compromise and tolerate the differences poetic by nature. They associate love not with heroism but with a more philosophical. There is a genuine softness of character that is expressed in the politeness and high regard for the female sex. Women are considered the moral leader of the nation.
Know before you go.
As of 1997, Ukraine requires all visitors to obtain mandatory health insurance from the state. The cost varies depending upon the anticipated length of stay but is generally modest. This insurance only covers medical care inside Ukraine. It does not cover the cost of medical evacuation. Most travelers to Ukraine encounter no problems despite a higher rate of street crime than in most Western European countries. Ukraine does have organized crime and computer hackers, but the majority of travelers are not affected by them.
Protocol.
Number 1. Ukraine is home to several ethnic groups, notably Ukrainians, ethnic Russian, Belarusian, Moldovians, and Poles. While each group has its own cultural tradition, their similarities are greater than their differences. Number 2. Trogot Ukraine means shake hand with other men upon meeting and leaving. Number 3. Allow women to take the initiative of handshaking. Number 4. Although ethnic Ukrainians are generally less inhibited than Russian, both cultures can be rather dour and sedate in public. Smiles are reserved for close friends. Number 5. Only during greetings do Ukrainians and Russians display affection in public. Relatives and good friends will engage in music. Number 6. Ukrainians and Russians often greet and stranger by shaking hands and stating their name, rather than uttering a polite phrase, such as "How do you do?" Respond in the same way titles or forms of address. Number 7. Ukrainian and Russian women tradition add the letter on the end of their surname. Number 8. The variety of Russian names, both first and last, is quite limited. Ethnic Ukrainian names have somewhat more variety. Surnames ending in "nko" are characteristically Ukraine. Number 9. Unless invited to do so, do not use first names. Call Ukrainians and Russian by their surname, preceded by Mr., Miss, Mrs., or Misters. If they have a professional title, use their title followed by their surname. Now we arrive at the interest part to discuss. This is tourist destination. I'll give you some advice on the beautiful tourist attraction in Ukraine. Number 1. Kyiv. If you want to tour once an old city that is aesthetic but also modern, you can come to this place. Number 2. Marble. Marble is one of 5 most beautiful caves in the world. Number 3. Askania Nova. If you want to see a grand natural atmosphere, you can come to this place. Number 4. Tunnel of Love. It's so beautiful, right? Oh my god. You can come with your girlfriend or boyfriend, but I don't know, you guys don't have boyfriend or girlfriend, so it's okay. Me too. You can come with your family. Okay, that's it. Actually, there are many more interesting tourist attractions in Ukraine. You can check it out on Google.
Do's and don'ts. Number 1. Always bring gifts when visiting the home of family or friends. If you are invited to Ukrainian home, try to bring flowers, liquor, or government food item. Number 2. Bring warm clothes in the winter. If you go to the Ukraine during the winter, bring warm clothes or buy Russian-style hats and gloves upon arrival. Number 3. Always carry your passport everywhere. The police can check your ID at any time. Make sure you always carry a passport that fails to show a valid ID means you will be detained until they can prove their fugitive status in the country. Number 4, don't take wallet on the street or wherever you find it. Sometimes it's a scam where someone gets his wallet in front of you and you take it and give it to them. They then check the wallet and say there is money missing. A fake cop comes and checks your documents silent. He hands you some cash and then returns it to you saying you didn't take the money. Number 5, do not give even amounts of flour. Give them in odd amounts. This is a very interesting fact where in Ukraine giving your partner even number of flowers can cause a rift in the relationship, because in Ukraine even number of flowers are only given to the cemetery. Number 6, always keep an eye on your credit card. Credit fraud is growing in Ukraine, so never give your card to someone a patient to take your training machine or ask him or her to give it to you.